All right, first off, a lot of credit to Georgia. Those guys, had a really good game plan offensively and did a really good job. And, in the fourth quarter, made a lot of plays on both sides of the ball. And, told our guys that this is exactly what you could want. You're in the fourth quarter and you're up 2 scores at Georgia, chance to beat them 2 years in a row. So, unfortunately, we didn't do things, didn't function on offense after, 5 drives of 5 touchdowns, so there was a lot of guys making a lot of plays during those drives offensively, but that's just a formula to not win. Usually you would think you'd get blown out, if they score every time they have the ball and you have 34 first downs. So, but when you're in a game like that, if those happen, you just got to keep scoring, and we didn't do that in the fourth quarter.
Questions?
What was the one thing defensively that gave your defense the most fits, where you guys just couldn't get off the field against them?
Yeah, I thought Gunner did a great job keeping plays alive and made a lot of plays with his legs, and it really wasn't one thing. That they really kind of did everything there, and we did limit explosive plays. There weren't a ton of explosive plays, but it was a slow death, 34 first downs. That's hard to do against service team.
How do you think Trinidad handled his first FBS red start?
Yeah, I think he handled it really well to start. Through 3 quarters, played amazing. 5 drives, 5 touchdowns. I'm sure he'd tell you that, when they finally stop us 3-and-out, he'd take back, that series, the first play to Daquan, when he's open on the corner and throws a little short. So, but it's just really disappointing. You could feel good that we've come a long ways from where we were 2 years ago in this room, feeling from playing these guys, but you got a chance, man. You're undefeated and you're up 2 scores. That's like how better can you draw it up? And we've got to coach better in those situations and make the plays. And those guys made some really significant plays, man. A receiver on the fade ball, and they made some really big plays when they needed them in the fourth quarter.
You mentioned the play where Daquan was open. Did he just underthrow it, or did something happen there that did impact the pass?
No, I think he just, we all have bad throws. And it's really a crazy game, too, because, if you go back to we're ahead, they have the 4th down at midfield, they run the fullback, a little dive, and we got them stopped. Like what happens at that point? Now we're ahead, now there's some momentum, we finally stop him, and then he goes through our tackles, and great job by him keeping his feet moving and makes the first down. And, I really felt that point was a really, almost a slow motion moment of like, okay, this is the moment here. We have him. We stop him here. This game really is headed a good direction, and made a play.
In that 6th drive when you had to punt, was there a moment, John Sutter for a second, trying it, or was it punt all the way when he got to 4th down?
No, it actually was about, if I remember, 6, through that drive, because the way the game's going, that 4th and 6, even back there, you would, but it was 4th and 10, I believe. Those analytics aren't real good, and just hoping, hey, we could get one stop, because it does happen sometimes. Those type of games we've all seen, both teams score, and then all of a sudden neither team scores for a couple series, but fortunately that didn't happen.
Lane, their games against Auburn and Tennessee, they were outplayed for 3 quarters or so and trailed similar to tonight. What is it about them that keep sort of coming back? What do you see?
Well, I think I said it all week. Kirby does a great job. Actually said it this morning on game day. Got it from Coach Saban, to install belief like, hey, we're going to find a way. And when you play Alabama before, or now Georgia, these 2 coaches, I feel like you have to win the game. They're not going to lose it at the end in the fourth quarter. You have to win the game. That's why we were aggressive. The 4th down, little reverse. That got a note in my pocket, man, that said, hey, when you get up and you got a chance, man, you got to go for it. Don't kick field goals. Don't get conservative. And so we tried to stay aggressive.
How obviously you guys go back on the road next week. And it's I guess in pro terms, you'd be like, hey, let's get one of these two. How quickly do you guys have to turn the page to Oklahoma?
Yeah, that sounds good now. Get one of the two. Yeah, it does feel like the NFL, like here comes another, really hard place to play, against the top defense in the country. So that's going to be a really big test, but we got a lot of things to fix. We got to play better on offense the fourth quarter, and obviously defensively. I mean, Georgia did a good job today, but that's not the number one offense in the country, and 34 first downs is really concerning. That's a lot of things we got to work on.
With last week, the focus being so much on energy, do you think that was better today?
Yeah, I thought, we handled the wave of the stadium early on. I thought we were extremely calm in big moments. Trinidad, everybody, even when things weren't going our way, or we'd score. There weren't these massive celebrations because I told them before, expect to score on this defense. Expect to make big plays. We have a really good game plan. When you score, just come back over and get ready to do it again because we're going to need a lot of it. And it did for 5 series,
What was the message to the guys in the locker room?
Yeah, it's just disappointing. It's disappointing to have a shot like this, to be up 2 scores, as I keep saying, in the fourth quarter against Georgia, at Georgia, and undefeated, to go to 7-0. That's kind of one of your lifetime moments, I told them, and it's right there. Or we're sitting here in a very different, if we make one significant play in that area there, we're sitting here saying, man, what a great job coming in here, and great job by the guys, getting up early on them and finishing off Georgia to go 7-0. And we didn't. And again, credit to them that they made a lot of significant plays in significant moments, whether it's a receiver catching the ball, whether it's, we have the third down route before that fourth down decision where, we throw to Trey and there's a guy right there and man with no safety, and the guys made a lot of plays.
You've talked about momentum with this team and just how crucial it is for you guys. How do you help your guys overcome around the wrong side of it?
You just got to see the opportunities that you had, and when you're in them again. And I told them we've been ahead. Well, shoot, now we've been ahead of everybody. We've played basically 2 scores, and we didn't close some out, let them drive down and make them 1 scores in these previous games. And I kept saying, we're going to play better teams, and you can't keep doing that. And unfortunately, that happened today. We're up 2, let them score. We don't score, and they go score. So those things come back to bite you when you play in, a place like this with a team like that and that staff.
Anything else from Coach? Last one, go ahead.
You talked earlier week about the next step for the program being to win on the road in a place like this. Does a spot like this, did you learn anything about your team today, or did it more maybe kind of validate some priors?
I just learned that we didn't finish when we had a chance to. And that's me too. Maybe we should have ran the ball a little more there in the last couple drives, take the pressure off Trinidad. But this isn't like this, statement game. I think somebody asked during the week, is this a statement game? One team's beat them there in 5 years, so it's not like because we lost to Georgia in a 1-score game that we were ahead of 2 scores, now all of a sudden our program's got to be revamped and relooked at. So if you want that feeling, spin back 2 years ago when we were sitting here, and they played like that on both sides of the ball against us, and we had to really change some things in our program.